highly prioritized champions still on the board, although the bans definitely are switching up rather significantly. Most notably, the VODS would be available for Shaoye if they want to first pick it here.
So is this Orianna as well, the Orianna available, something that LGD could take, and looks like that is going to be the option. You can still pair the Nocturne as well with this, would be really nice. So it's going to be the Orianna locked in. No Azir. I mean, Syndra has been rising in priority. That would be a really nice answer here from BuLLDog. You could also go the Akali that has been left unbanned. That's a tough lane, but you do get left in, you left to the side in the lane. Like you mentioned, the virus been left up, so that will be taken. A lot of range already from both of these teams, the Orianna and this virus.
Big pickup here, as it's interesting to see as we get deeper into Fearless. Some of the champions have been banned away all series long, going to start to emerge, and we also see Croco lock in the Wukong. You want to player the game on this in their last series against OMG, so it looks like, you know, Croco gonna have a good opportunity here. But when there's Orianna, always Nocturne a possibility. So we're gonna see that most likely locked in for Heng.
Misfortune here is an interesting answer into the into the virus. We've been having a lot of Sivir, is what I was going to say, into the virus, but a little bit of the MF too. You can kind of just stand there and hit with the ult. Jungle selection here for LGD. Wow, Mundo. Okay, so this is something that has been played a lot last year. It's been played a little bit this year. Normally the Malphite gets played into it as a counter, but the Wukong, I mean, these are both selections that I was talking about, the Akali or the Syndra into the Orianna. Syndra's easier in lane. Akali is more of a side lane counter. When you get to a side lane, a longer lane, you can really run down this Orianna. It will be the Akali. That's very aggressive.
Typically we see that Mundo, as you mentioned, as a counter to the Malphite, but they banned away the Malphite. They feel confident enough in Heng being able to play this. I believe he had a game on that champion back in their last series as well. So some more comfort here in this decisive game at number 3. Getting to the second phase of bans, YCX going to get targeted here with that Poppy being taken away. And now we'll see what the rest of these picks and bans have in store. Still waiting for top laners, still waiting for supports.
Poppy ban is nice into the Akali and the Wukong. That does make sense. Alice is still available with Poppy ban. Could be an option for LNG. They do have selection here first after ban. So, okay, they're going to ban the Alistair themselves. Or it could be Rakan then as well. You know, no Alistair, no Poppy. Or a Braum. I could see a Braum angle too with the MF. The Orianna. Could go the Bard. It's quite nice. Oh, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if Missing's feeling comfortable, it's a really good Bard game.
It's definitely up his wheelhouse. I know that Bard has been more and more popular recently, and the ability to leave this Varus on a bit of an island now. That 1xN most likely will be going somewhat of a poke build. Allow for Missing to make some big plays alongside Croco and BuLLDog across the map. 1xN gonna lock in that Scion for Sheer up in the top side. Could always see Sasa whip out the Mundo. He is known for playing things like Udyr top lane. Maybe it's gonna allow for a little bit of flexibility, but the Yorick is also a big specialty of his. If this gets locked in, we have a very, very unique composition for LGD.
Yeah, unique. I like this better. There's not a lot of range. There was when Varus was selected. Varus still has a lot of range, but it's all brawlers, right? Wukong, Akali, Scion. I'm really a Heng doubter. I think that there's a lot of games that it was picked into Marcia where it didn't look great. I think a big reason for that is the range. Heng doesn't have great gap close outside of his ult. He really needs to hit lots of people all the time to get that passive stacked up. This is a game that can happen, so last pick here for LGD will be their support. I mean, it's just Braum, no? Braum looks good. Could go Bard still. All right, Missing. Feeling comfortable. The only reason I think Bard is better, sorry, Braum is better, is because it has a better time into the Mundo breaking spell shield. I'm not going to talk about it until it's picked because we're hovering everything.
Ooh.
Lulu.
Okay, so could mean a couple things. Could mean that now that we see a Mundo and a Hen in the game, that 1xN is going to want to go towards perhaps an on-hit Varus to do a little bit of extra damage. I think that would make sense given the fact that the Scion was also picked up for Sheer in the top lane, just having a little bit more oomph down there in the bot lane position. And it also means that LNG suddenly become a little bit more short-ranged, and we'll see if that becomes a big problem against the might of a big wombo combo composition that LGD have set up.
It's a tough one. We haven't seen on-hit Varus at all this year, I believe. Maybe not even in Demacia. I don't know about the other regions, but in LPL, to my knowledge, it's only been Poke Virus, Lethality Virus. But I think you're right. Mundo, Zahen, it's very difficult to play Poke Virus this game. And normally that's okay if you've got Nazir, even an Orianna, something into this Mundo, but you don't. The other issue, I'm fairly sure Mundo's spell shield doesn't get broken by Polymorph. So Chains of Corruption, Wukong Knockup. I'll have to check as we go into the game, but
I don't think so, yeah.
It's a tough win for LNG here. The Mundo pick is very difficult to deal with.
And it'll be a fun time here for Heng, who, again, we hyped up as being able to have some big moments. We have not necessarily seen that yet in this series. Croco has been the better jungler so far, albeit he made a couple of mistakes in game number 2 that allowed for LGD to get back in this one. But I feel like, you know, funnily enough, Moon is a champion you can really 1v9 the game on. And a great opportunity for Heng on his newfound team in LGD to allow for that to happen against the favorites here in Group Nirvana. LNG and LGD tied up at 1 apiece. We'll see who moves up to 2-0 in the group as we get ready for our 3rd game of our first series.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any Gyos tonight. We've just been updated by one of our lovely Super Troopers that 1xN did play on-hit Virus against OMG. So, actually there's a crit cloak in this build too. I have no idea what that's going to be. What is next item after? It was Rageblade, or sorry, Bork, Rageblade, Terminus, pretty normal. And then a crit cloak. Not quite sure, maybe like a Fiend Hunter Bolts, does that? I don't even know if that fits in at all. I don't know what the next item was going to be, but hopefully if it goes along this game, it is the Lethal Tempo with Ghost variant, so that is guaranteed on hit. 1xN, at least from just checking in 10 seconds, is the only person in the LPL that's played on hit Virus this season so far. And this is a game to do so against the Zahen, the Renata, the Mundo. The one caveat here is that he's weaker in lane, not as strong against the Orianna, and Renata ult does get more value because on hit, because the autos do more.
A little bit of a, you know, positives, pros and cons situation here for 1xN. Seems like this is the style he is more comfortable on regardless, as we see Croco pathing down towards the bottom lane alongside Heng, try to impact what could be a very volatile 2v2. Across the map, not too much to open this game, as really looking at, you know, who is going to be the one to step up in this decisive game number 3. Heavily trading in the top side of the map. Sasi has unlocked his passive and is going to be able to revive if Sheer does get him to 0 HP, which means that Sheer's not really able to hit back and will have to flash away from his W.
This trade, because Sasi doesn't get the kill, obviously, favors the Mundo because the stacks all wear off and just Sheer has the Doran shield. So Sasi will get a push out here, but after this, he's much weaker because he won't be able to stack up that in time. Even though he also has the Doran shield, the passive now being down means the fight doesn't go on for long enough. You see how tough this lane is early for Akali. Again, later on in the game, in a side lane, in a long lane, where BuLLDog can really run Tangyuan down, will look good. I will say, I've missed on-hit Virus. Wow, nice flash trade.
Tangyuan had to get away from that shuriken flip, otherwise could have been very dangerous. BuLLDog had an opportunity for a kill there. Instead, going to maintain his health advantage, go back to base. He's got a 5 CS lead here, and this is Big moment here for a mid laner like Tangyuan. BuLLDog going to try to get this push out before the teleport comes in, but he does not know that Heng is in the area. That's going to be the cannon already gone, and it might be even more as BuLLDog is in trouble and doesn't have his flash. Heng is just chasing him down, pushing him to first blood on LGD's side.
Goes where he pleases, and he sure will. BuLLDog tries to conserve his energy by not hitting that cannon. Uses the flip to get further away. Maybe if BuLLDog had gone over the wall, like into Raptor's pit, it would have been a bit more okay. But I think BuLLDog just needs to stay there, sacrifice himself, use the energy to get that wave. It was so many minions that he lost. It was a cannon, 3 range creeps, I think, maybe 1 melee as well alongside that. So down more than 400 gold in 4 minutes off of no kills. I know that there was a kill, but Tangyuan only the assist there, didn't get the last hit, up more than Heng is. But look, still trading pretty aggressively, but 2 members are sandwiching him.
Yeah, YCX popping the bail on himself just to try to speed himself up, forcing BuLLDog back and going to be losing even more farm. Tangyuan be able to build a significant advantage here in the mid lane with the help of the rest of his team. This is exactly what we were hoping to see LGD do at the start of this series here, Jbetto, and it's finally starting to happen.
Just the one caveat for the LNG team here is there is no real ball delivery system for Orianna, like Zehen maybe, but other than that, it's going to have to just be like an aerial denial kind of thing. So Tangyuan is going to have to be on point with his ults, but this lane doesn't really get much easier for BuLLDog until quite a while when you can threaten the all-in. And in such a short lane, especially when Heng and YCX are kind of camping mid here, BuLLDog has no deal, no mana for Sasa. Will trade out pretty efficiently, but uses his ult and will get a push out, most likely for a base. Dragon now being started up by LNG, who have had objective dominance throughout most of these games.
We're going to add to that total here. Also getting some plates in the bottom lane as 1xN missing. Having a good time in the 2v2 so far. Shaoye makes it rain and forces 1xN back a little bit. But Dragon was not able to be finished off because of the pressure that YCX and Shaoye were able to provide. So Heng able to join the party here, forcing Croco to go for an aggressive push forward. See the damage that those cleavers are doing as well. So LGD forcing LNG to go away from those early objective plays like we have liked them to see.
And that Q already doing a lot of damage from Heng. Maybe Croco could have stuck around in bot side, gone back to the Drake, but now up to the top scuttle. Heng continues to just lay in these cleavers onto the members of LNG. Nice ult from Sasa.
Forward on Tangyuan, does not have that flash, and a fully charged knockup will connect.
What?
All too easy here for LNG as their top side collapses onto the Ori.
He can't even do anything. He's just standing there. Maybe Shockwave would have done enough, but no flash on Orianna. They one-shot him, and he can't even move at all. That's the LNG that we've been seeing in the early games of this series so far. The synergy and the pace that this team has, the tempo that they set in their engages is just so quick.
Sometimes they like playing slow, but when they find a play that they like, they will pull the trigger quick. Sheer seeing that opportunity from, again, more than a screen away with the help of his teammates to find the play. That fully charged ultimate connecting. Tangyuan did not stand a chance. And that was one of the areas of the map, Jbetto, that LGD had an advantage in and now they're able to, kind of neutralize it.
Flash has just now come back up for Tangyuan too, so that was the flash trade from BuLLDog and Tangyuan earlier in the game. That timer was so close. The reason that Tangyuan's comes up earlier is he has Cosmic Insight, obviously. But, wow. Insane speed, timing on the flash as well to know that that's a good time to go. If that flash comes out from Tangyuan here, Shockwave, Mundo has ult, Ghost coming up. Maybe that fight looks differently, but really fast and efficient punish on the Tangyuan. It'll only mean that the gold is basically even now. Lead and top, mid and jungle and support is completely whatever. Small lead now in mid. It's not as much as it was, and this lead continuing to build up off of just CS, one plate as well. 500 gold. When Varus gets this Bork, he can fight pretty effectively against Mundo throughout this early game.
All even in kills, basically even in gold, even in game score between our two teams, even in the standings atop Group Nirvana. Again, they'll play again later in this season, but for now, this will be a very big boost to both the momentum as well as just the pure on record for these teams to try to get themselves a spot in that play-in stage. Stage number 2 of your Split 1 playoffs in the LPL. Croco and Missing trying to clear out some vision, but Heng is being a bit of a nuisance, and so instead, it's going to be Croco looking to try to collapse on him. He doesn't want to pop the Cyclone because he still has the passive in his hand, and now the bullet time is going to come out and nearly chunk Missing down to 0 HP. Croco finally goes in. The wild growth going to knock Shaoye up as well, and a beautiful play from the LNG bottom lane allow for Croco to pick up 2 kills.
That looked very sketchy for LMG. Heng was providing so much space. There's not a whole lot that a Wukong can do against the Dr. Mundo, but the Chains of Corruption lands onto YCX, and Croco just sends it with the flash over the wall. And now LNG will secure this Drake. Look at the lead that's exploded as well. 1,000 gold from 1xN. Does he have Bork in base? He will be close, but Croco can't really, even though he breaks the spell shield, he can't pick up the drop that Dr. Mundo does drop, but the TP makes the cancel of the bullet time a reality, and then the Chains of Corruption hits onto YCX, and even though the flash over the wall happens, it still tethers to Shaoye over the wall, and we're back at live.
Yeah, Heng has no ultimate. Croco just able to kill him with a crushing blow. That's the full Triforce at 10 minutes here for your Wukong in game number 3, as Croco has fully come online in this game for LNG.
We didn't see the full of that, but that looked like a full-on solo kill. We'll have to see the assists, because I don't think anyone had a part of that but Croco. He's the only person with 100% kill participation. So we tune in there, and Mundo is very low. We see the end of it, but that might have just been a full solo kill.
That's how strong Croco has become here in this game. Ooh, Tangyuan does not connect on that shockwave. And going to be a free back here for BuLLDog.
We take a look back here, picture in picture. So Mundo's half from tanking. It's not a full-on solo kill, but you're right. With this Triforce, Croco just does so much damage to Mundo at this stage, who only has Heartsteel with no stacks. So fairly useless in terms of item value, just health. And this Wukong at this part of the game doesn't really care about that. So now it's a 1.7k lead on 1xN and a 1,000 gold near from Croco. There's a pink ward here. Croco will clear it out, but I don't think it's going to stop Croco at all.
Yeah, they could try to run between the two turrets, allow for Heng to get a little bit of space, and that actually will be enough to prevent Croco from fully going in. He does not have his flash, but has the ultimate at his disposal. At the very least, he's denying a lot of CS for the LGD bot laner and allowing more plates to go 1xN's way. That's another 100 gold in the bank for the Varus, who's now expanded his lead to almost 2,000 at the 12-minute mark. Both him and Croco doing wonders here in this decisive game.
I think it was also 3 grubs. It was at least 2 that Croco was able to secure, because Heng, I don't think, got a single grub there when he was doing them himself, but means that when 1xN goes up against the turret, who's finished his Bork, has his quest completed too, working on the Rage Blade already, Ardent Sensor for Missing. This duo is incredibly strong right now. They're going to take this tower very quickly with the grubs they got. Bork's already finished. He has those attack speed boosts, the Ardent Sensor buffing him even more. Look at the build for Shaoye. No boots. Does he have BT finish in base? That would make this a little better, but that would be a big jump. Croco
looking for Sasa. Cyclone initially popped. That second knockup going to do a lot as well. Sasa should have the Grim Deliverance to get over the wall and will escape. Will be this Rift Scuttler going over. A small victory here for this Wukong, who is continuing to press his lead.
Sheer does use the ult, so that'll be down. Sasa ults himself over the wall. maintains Flash in his inventory, or in his Summoner Spell selection, I guess you could say. But yeah, this tower is not going to remain for very much longer. Still no BT finish for Shaoye. LNG have maintained their dominant early games from this series. This one looks to be the strongest that we've seen. BuLLDog, the only member who doesn't have a lead, and in their first... Wow, that Q might have done a lot of damage, but Ghost used from YCX will have the heal available thanks to Spellbook. They've maintained this tower. I'm impressed that LGD have kept this standing. Croco's over the wall here. Can't see him on screen, but look at the map.
Now YCX looking aggressive as well. Oh, BuLLDog just sits in the middle of that shockwave. And this time it works out for Tangyuan. That's a solo kill for the Orianna. And LGD get a desperately needed kill to try to stem the bleeding.
I don't know if the Flash just was literally perfectly up, but if not, he has Flash up and he's dead. So he might have been able to flash out of that and decided not to, or didn't react fast enough. This Akali lane does get better, but Croco got the blue. Oh, that sucks.
2-level lead right now. And
that's
the
horrifying.
Tower going down in the bot lane for 1xN and missing. They finally break it open, and so despite the solo kill, it is still going to be a pretty good situation overall. Now in the top lane, Sasa going to get revived with the full
Is he dead? He's just dead.
proc, but he might need a full Q.
Oh.
Sheer mistimes it just the slightest bit and allows for the Heng to flash away. That's
a moment where Sasa is just spamming F as fast as he can on his keyboard. It does get off. Well, D, I think, actually, he might have D. Flash on D. But it does get off, and he's able to get away. Herald to spawn. LNG do not want to give this up. They're moving forward. Croco has that Cyclone available. Herald's already been taken, though. Missing will just be able to watch Heng walk away. Maybe get a ward over the wall to see his departure. And he will see that. But, yeah, this Akali lane does get better, I promise. It won't be for a long while now. Has the Hextech Gunblade, a returning item.
Yeah, it's great to see it back.
So, you know, Grapes, we're not seeing a lot of new champions, at least. I mean, the Akali priority has risen. But we are seeing a lot of these new items, returning items, buffed items, reworked items. So, at least there's that.
Yeah, I mean, LGD's composition looks unique to me. You got the Mundo, you got Zehen up in the top lane. Of course, champion didn't exist in Season 15, but do love that Akali is able to build the Gunblade again. Makes me feel like I'm young, spry, got some pep in my step, coming home from school, playing some leagues, building some Gunblades here. Let's take a look at this skirmish up in the top side. See how Sheer could have potentially played this better.
I don't really have to, I mean, I don't have to look back at this, I guess. He's just spamming his flash key as fast as he can, and Sheer just times it wrong by, like, not even half a second. And the input comes in first for the flag. If he had connected with that full charge decimating smash, Sasa was probably dead. He was on a tower with no minions, so very nice speed from Sasa, I guess. He's just spamming the input, so if Sheer had timed that perfectly, it would have been really, really great. But look at the build from Sheer. Full armor, has the anti-heal as well, and going into more armor as well. I guess there is a lot of magic damage from the Orianna, but it's going to be a while, so I understand. AD from Mundo, bullet time, now the BT's been finished, and the Triforce. I will say, I'm still getting tripped up by looking at these ADCs build sometimes to check their items, and then going, did this guy not go boots? And then realizing, oh, it's in the next slot.
Yeah. Don't actually that's to me, you know, taking a look at the HUD, finally getting it on maybe one side. You just have to look a little bit further to the left or the right, respectively. But yeah, once you get the quest, it's one of those things that you don't even notice it, but you see now, like 1xN didn't have to sell his Doran's Blade to get a controller. That's like the slight advantage that you're able to get, even in situations where you don't have all 7 item slots like completely filled up, right? Like getting the opportunity to build different components is definitely something that also AD carries will be able to be benefited by.
Yeah, for the most of the game, it does feel more like a quality of life change rather than you're just infinitely stronger, you know, getting a control ward. And now that he's finished Rageblade, it doesn't mean anything, but he'll be able to buy 2 more spots in a control ward rather than just 1 slot in the control ward. So haven't really seen enough games go long enough to get those full 6 legendary items plus boots in the extra slot because of how quickly the waves spawn, especially because they speed up. So there's just so much more gold, or faster gold at least, in the game. I'm sure we will get games in best of 5s where they do go super long, 40-minute games where both AD carries, it's like Zeria Felios or something like that, where both AD carries are full build and everyone in the entire map just gets one shot, which is going to be fun. But for now, most of the games have been still within reason. Towers now being pushed down by LNG. Nice bullet time will mean there is no chance of getting this plate. Herald is still in Heng's pocket. Dragon is in a minute. Pardon me, it's Soul Point if LNG get this. Again, we're in another position like we were in Game 2. But Heng has the opportunity in the next minute to help this bot duo in mid, collect mid prio with that Herald.
Interesting to see Shaoye use the bullet time to clear the wave. If they should just delay a couple of seconds, it should be up again by the time this dragon fight does occur. But if LNG decide to rip it on spawn, might be a cooldown that LGD do not have available for them, as the mid lane control will now become a big focus. As again, as you mentioned, Jbetto, Soul Point, Mountain Soul Point at that for LNG. If they're able to pick this one up, Shaoye getting bursted down. Those Blight procs doing a ton as one more piercing arrow able to allow for 1xN to get a 2v2 in the mid lane. That is going to be Shaoye down. Forget the bullet time. The whole champion is not going to be available for this dragon fight.
On-hit Varus, you're as beautiful as the day I lost you. It is so nice to see a Varus clicking instead of just pressing Q. BuLLDog.
Sasa forcing that perfect execution away. Sasa almost able to take that Akali down. Does have teleport.
Herald?
Want to go for a fight. The Rift Herald just popped to try to take this tower down.
Oh!
Nearly able to do so, but it will survive with the slightest amount of HP still available. LNG in the meanwhile still able to get that third dragon, as Croco was able to do it himself. And it is a big advantage now going over to your blue side.
Again, another benefit of the on-hit Varus here. Oh, it was the flash burn early. There was no flash on MF on Shaoye because it was burnt earlier by sheer really smart play from LNG. They know Shaoye can't get away. They will pick up the tower eventually, so that's not too bad. There's pings on Baron. Maybe just for some vision setup, but with an on-hit Varus, 2 items in, you can go there. So yeah, look, Shaoye has no flash available. He does have cleanse, but the ult wasn't even really needed. It's just the blight stacks. And Shaoye gets taken down by the right clicks from 1xN. He really did just right click him to death.
I know our resident Varus on-hit player, Slayer, who is about to cast this next series between IG and Top Esports, was salivating watching that play in the mid lane. 1xN doing a great job here in this game number 3, allowing for LNG get up to a 1.6 thousand gold lead and continue to have priority in that mid lane. Baron spawned here. The thing is here, Jbetto, LGD's team fighting, if they can get all their ultimates in the right place, is very strong.
Yeah.
So LNG have to continue to be aggressive, maybe even start some of these neutral objectives in uncomfortable positions if they want to maintain the advantage that they have.
Bandlepipes Mundo next, which will be a really nice spike for... There's a Heng, a little bit the MF, but the Mundo as well. If they can go late game, this Mundo might become very, very strong to the point where it's nearly unkillable. I mean, Sasa's still winning out on this 1v1, even despite having 1,000 extra health. With this passive stacked up, the amount of healing that comes, that is flash burnt, ult burnt for Shaoye, neither used for 1xN. He has all his summoners and his flash available. It was just the wild growth from missing that was used.
Oh, Chain of Corruption gets McHale's by YCX, but that's enough for the mid lane tier 1 to finally go down, as LNG will have a lot more area to work with across the map. Let's take a look at how this started. Bullet time was used to clear the wave, and 1xN just says, nah,
he just
screw you,
walks in?
I'm gonna go hit you.
What? That is so much damage. So the wild growth wasn't even used on 1xN. I thought, like, okay, Shaoye was caught, somehow is in melee range. The wild growth was put on 1xN. He got knocked up. He had to flash away. No, 1xN up 2,000 gold. No ult, no flash. Just walks at Shaoye and right clicks him to death. If 1xN had wanted to commit flash, ult, he might have killed him, but instead, fully conservative with his aggression, something that LNG found in Game 1, stumbled out in Game 2, and are now finding again in Game 3. I feel like LGD feel like their backs are against the wall. Their only lead is Tangyuan. They're positioning around Baron, but they're down Soul Point. 1xN just clicking forward.
And YCX, again, doesn't have that Mikhail's because he used it earlier and has to flash away. Baron surely can become the topic of conversation sooner rather than later. I mean, LNG feel very much in control of this game, but they have to always be on the lookout for some of these big ultimates, right? The shockwave here, the bullet time. Even YCX can get involved, but LNG going to be fearless here. They're going to start this one up.
I mean, TP behind from Sasa. Ghost out of Heng, we're going.
There's the initial engage. Croco does get over the wall, dodged away from the Renata ultimate. Shockwave only finds the front line, but missing is going to get assassinated by Sasa. And the target is now 1xN with the flash over the wall and is able to shut him down before the revive can come through. BuLLDog is in a bad position and will get dropped. It's a 3-for-2 overall with Heng and Tangyuan still at full HP and chasing Sheer down with the cleaver. Sion will be forced to use the blast cone to get away, and it will be LGD controlling the top side of the map.
Bit too ambitious that Baron was. The protections were shredded. Remember, that does happen now. But 1xN played that so well. I hope we get a replay of that so I can talk about how well 1xN played that. But LGD, even the gold lead up overall. So, I mean, if you're an LNG fan, avert your eyes from the engage. It is good, but they don't end up finding any kills. Unfortunately, 1xN kills missing, basically. But then look, 1xN kiting, flash over the wall, WQ. But unfortunately, BuLLDog too far away from his team. If 1xN with passive up could land on 2 members here of LGD, he probably could kill everybody. He's so fed. He has 3 completed items at 25 minutes. That's just how fast the game has become with the new minion spawns. LNG back around Baron. The dragon is up. They're aware they don't have Prio in the river or any vision. So they're pulling LGD away from that dragon by threatening a Baron of their own.
We asked the question at the top of the show. 1xN coming over to LNG, putting up some great numbers. Is it him, or is the 80 carry position just a little bit too strong? I think the conclusion that we've come to here, Jbetto, is that it's a little bit of both. This guy playing out of his mind here into this game and has big opportunity to close this series out, albeit without any summoner spells for the next couple of minutes. So fights around Baron might continue to be risky. LNG also have an opportunity to go for a soul, but I think at this point, Jbetto, without your summoner spells on your crucial carry, you might be fine giving this one up and maybe waiting for the right moment instead.
Yeah, that is the positive about having these 3 Drakes, as now Shaoye will be spotted on the dragon by a blue orb, but Shaoye continues to do the dragon. ADC does have a lot of gold, like I've been talking about, but this guy's been clicking pretty well. Dragon now will be fully taken. Careful in the mid lane. Tangyuan's caught.
Finds a Cyclone on the Tangyuan and forces him to flash away, but a big hostile takeover forces 1xN to one-shot missing all by his lonesome. Oh, 1xN, he gets his 5th kill, but it's on his opposing support, and it means that LGD is able to get that dragon with a kill in their back pocket as well.
This is the problem with Renata against this on-hit Varus, is that if the hostile takeover hits Varus, who has no cleanse, he will just kill anyone who's next to him that isn't a tank. If BuLLDog's there, he'll kill BuLLDog. And we saw what happens to missing. It looks great, the engage, but Tangyuan flashes the engage. He's not hit. He's away. And then the hostile takeover tears missing in half.
That's insane.
Even through the wild growth.
Oh,
it's actually BuLLDog that gets the kill.
Last hits it.
It's a team kill KS.
YCX gets credit eventually. The gold lead is even still, but now LGD feels like they've scaled up a little bit now. Take a look at Sasa. He's level 17. Tangyuan, 2 levels ahead of his lane counterpart in BuLLDog, who really never got off in this game.
Yeah.
LGD feeling good at this point, despite the gold lead being, despite being down Soul Point, because their 5v5s just might be a little bit better.
2,000 gold separates the 80 carries, and the same amount of gold separates our mid laners. However, actually, it's the same. 2 levels. 2-level lead in mid for Tangyuan, 2-level lead in 80 carry for 1xN. The conversation of which player can carry this game harder. So far, it has been LGD who have pulled this game back to even and actually ahead now. There is still the constant threat of once you get the soul point, every Drake after is still threatening of the soul that LGD have to not slip up at all. If they make a mistake, Baron is up. Soul is around the corner for LNG. This game can very easily flip back on its head. Tangyuan still has no flash. If Croco, who didn't use his flash, goes in with BuLLDog together, this Orianna should die.
Gonna have to be soon, though, as that flash cooldown with Cosmic Insight is coming up sooner rather than later. Both summoner spells now available on Shaoye as well, who just picked up his 3rd item in the Infinity Edge. Gonna be able to do a little bit more damage here in these team fights apart from just the bullet time. But still a little bit less than what 1xN has to offer at this point. Baron still on the table, and no side really has full control in terms of vision over that pit. Now see both of our top laners down in the bottom side. 80 carries trading in mid. This is maybe not exactly what we expected after watching game 1, but exactly what we wanted to see between the two teams that are fighting for the top spot in Group Nirvana.
This is super exciting for Nirvana. I'm a fan of this LNG team, but as an analyst, I love this, that these teams are so close. It makes all the further games so much more exciting. Really big part here, 1xN picked up QSS. I was wondering what that Vamp Scepter item was going to be. He already has Bork, so more lifesteal. What's that? It's Mercurial Scepter. He's going full Mercurial Scepter here. So being able to QSS himself out of the Renata ult, maybe that could have been purchased a little bit earlier to save his team, but that should no longer be an issue. This means that LGD will need to find other ways of winning their fight outside of having a massive Renata ult on top of 1xN. He'll be able to cleanse himself out. There's the full item purchase now. And like you mentioned before, he still has Doran's Blade. He can pick up a control ward because he has that 6th item slot available.
Okay, that's those role quests coming to good use here, as 1xN has had the lead maybe shrink a little bit after some of these recent fights, but still absolutely critical for him to stay alive and dish out the maximum possible damage. He is really the only one that can burst through this front line that LGD has so has so brilliantly built up at this point. Heng and Sasa going to be very powerful around this next fight. Could be the Dragon, which spawns in 30 seconds. I think at this point here, Jbetto, with both summoners available for 1xN, with them having the Scimitar, they feel more comfortable to try to fight this soul.
The thing is, though, Grapes, that the flash for the mid lane has come back up. Tangyuan has flash available because of Cosmic Insight, so if they want to send it onto him, it's going to need to be a 2-pronged attack where they get his flash and then continue going. LNG still do have priority over this river. They have vision control as well, and they're first here. So LGD would need to force their way back in.
Missing already down to half HP, as he is going to be very squishy on the back line for LNG. Sasa dashing forward, but Croco on a flank finds a Cyclone out of the back line, but a big hostile takeover nonetheless. Shaoye gets deleted, and so does Sasa on the backside. Tangyuan and Heng are still alive, as Sasa with the revive is able to flash away, but he won't flash away from the might of 1xN. He gets the kill onto the Zahen, and still has Sheeran missing to try and take down this Dragon Soul.
It's like 1xN is just going forward.
Take him down. Tangyuan, now the only one left standing, missing, is nearly taken down, but Tangyuan will not be able to get him. Sheer will chase the Orianna away, and 1xN will do the job around the Dragon himself. Mountain Soul claimed for LNG.
I have missed this pick so much, and 1xN makes it look beautiful. His kiting away from Sasa, the wild growth on top, the QSS on the hostile takeover that has teared this team apart through this game. 1xN pops off in this game. We take a look back here. Croco nearly sneaks into this brush, but he's just spotted by the vision from Tangyuan. but he goes anyway. Look at 1xN. Instantly on the Heng, does so much damage. QSS's Wild Growth, he's clicking flash away here from the front line, but Sasa again finds this instant flash. 1xN continues to go off. In live, we've got the Baron picked up. 1xN starts at the Dragon. This is a bait. They want Heng to walk in. It's an instant turn off as soon as they kill this Mundo. Man, 1xN carried this whole fight on his shoulders.
And this is the player that so many of us were excited about last year on Thunder Talk, just waiting to see him get an opportunity to shine. And many of us think this could be that chance here on LNG with players like Sheer and Missing with this high-level experience on top teams. Remember, they played together back on JDG in 2024. You have Croco here in BuLLDog from Korea in the mid-jungle duo. They're having a pretty good game themselves, specifically Croco finding these engages. And, of course, 1xN. Out of all of them, despite it all, has somewhat emerged as the superstar, as the player to play around here for LNG. This is much better than that Ziggs game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. And he's deathless in this game, right? He's going the Jack Show build now too. It might be the Wit's End. Oh no, actually Wit's End doesn't bear down a Giant's Cloak. It should be the Jack Show. That's normally what Varus, on-hit Varus goes at the end of the game. And he's already deathless. Now Jack Show getting purchased. He has Mountain Soul as well. If you weren't killing this guy before, how are you, look at his shielding. How are you going to get past this guy when he has QSS for the Renata ult now? Nothing else can proc that. There is no range CC. There's actually no CC at all that can take down this QSS. So it's just being held for this hostile takeover. Look at how aggressive 1xN's playing. He has flash up. He's got a support behind him. LGD backs against the wall once again in this series. Can they find a miracle? If they could one-shot 1xN, the fight would turn completely on its head.
That's a tall task, especially with all those buffs that he has on top of him, like you said. Not the best siege comp here for LNG, but they're going to get the job done in terms of these inner towers. Inhibitor towers still the ones left standing. They got 55 seconds, about a wave and a half left. Going to get this one and maybe one more. Potential final push here with this Baron buff. Sheer getting pulled in here with the handshake. Shockwave lands on a 1xN, needs to flash away. That's a big cooldown issued already as the hostile takeover also connects onto the Varus. BuLLDog going to have to be inside that shroud. Uses the shuriken flip to get away. A lot of resources burned by LGD, but nobody on the opposition falls.
That was about as good as you could have gotten there for LGD. Shockwave hits 1xN. He has to flash and he had to QSS the Renata ult. But it didn't result in anything. He's full health at the end of it because the shielding is just so much. Jack Show has been completed. He's actually, I forgot about this. He gets another item, so he's going a Randuin's, I would assume, which is even more tankiness here for 1xN. I guess he has no flash, so if you could shockwave him and land on top of him with Heng, if he could ghost an ult, but this is the problem with this LGD draft, right? They don't have a Bull delivery service, so it's just reliant on Tangyuan, like, no assistance hitting the shockwave onto 1xN's head, who doesn't have flash now, sure, but he's kind of really tanky.
Yeah, I mean, might be tankier than some of the frontline players on LNG at this point, just in terms of, you know, the amount of sustainability he's able to get. Imagine Legend Bloodline in there, 1,000 gold shutdown, and having Missing pop shields and heals on top of him like it's nobody's business. 1xN, very powerful right now. You can see our top laners have unlocked level 20, so we're really at that late game stage, Jbetto, but it feels like LNG have control. Goldie's only 3,000. LGD, if they can win a fight around this Herald, around this Elder Dragon, I should say, definitely still have a chance, but as you mentioned, it starts by punishing this flashless Varus.
Side note here, I didn't know that this is the way that the game was coded, but you actually get all the way up to the cap. So you get level 18 and then get all the way to 19 and then don't tick over. And it's the same with level 20. I never knew that. I guess completely pointless piece of information, but the graphic tells us that you continue earning XP after that. Kind of interesting.
It's important when you click on the post-game graphic at the end and you get the
True.
I think they track that. I don't know.
That's not fair though, because top laners continue to get more, so they'll always have more XP now.
Yeah, it's okay.
We've got 30 seconds on this Elder Grapes.
Yeah, we're getting
Minute and
close to that
half on
fight.
Dragon?
It might not even happen though.
Oh.
As Shaoye is way too far forward in the mid lane. You might have your
Wow.
flash, but do not have your life at this point. Croco finding the critical play, and LNG will have a numbers advantage for the Elder Dragon fight.
That's huge. No TP for Sheer, and ult is down for Croco and missing. But how do you get in? If you take down Tangyuan, there is no damage left. Tangyuan needs to have the perfect fight here. As it, like you said, it's Shaoye walking too far up. A great invis over the wall to catch this MF. The Elder Dragon has spawned. LGD, your chance is now, or you're losing this series.
BuLLDog's on the flank. They need a steal, but Heng is getting stalled and
It's
slowed
gone.
by Sheer. He uses that unstoppable onslaught, and here comes the perfect execution. Sasi uses the ultimate just to get away, but the Elder Dragon has already been secured, and LGD are on the retreat. LNG aren't going to go too far forward. They know they have a Baron in 15, and that can be the tool that they utilize to finally put an end to this series.
Well, it's against Elder for LGD. They'll have to fight this Baron, or this is kind of a really sad ending to this series that was really exciting. You're down Soul, nice, mate. Down Soul, Elder, and Baron. You're against Exodia, 3 grubs as well. There is no buff LNG do not have at their disposal to end this game. LGD, do you make a stand at Baron against Elder Drake? Do you try to wait out the buffs, fight in front of your Nexus as it might fall in your face? It will be the full concede of the Baron. They have every buff in pocket, Grapes.
Soul, Baron, Elder, the trifecta of neutral objective buffs right now for LNG. They're going to have maybe 45 seconds in the base of LGD with these buffs intact. We'll see if they're able to pull the trigger quick enough, as LGD still has a decent amount of wave clear here with Shaoye and Tangyuan. They have a lot of sustainability here with Heng. Can they make a final stand at the 41-minute mark of this Game 3?
The problem is there's no snap again. The reason they found their ins in Game 2 was off the back of Sasi and off of YCX, who in this game neither have a fast in to this game. Don't forget the 3 grubs alongside their buffs too. Not that it really matters, but it does add insult to injury. It means the towers go down even faster. LGD will stand alongside their Nexus, and as LNG move in and look to cement themselves as the first seed in Group Nirvana.
Slow lands onto Heng. He has to pop that ultimate early. They're going to lock down a Sheer, but he's very tanky. I think over 7,000 health at this point in the game, with that Soul Furnace continuing to tick. Here goes Croco. He lands a 3-man Cyclone, and that should do it. Their hostile takeover will not be enough. The carries will fall one by one, and LNG can finally breathe a sigh of relief. It took them a little bit longer than they expected, but they'll get the win all the same. A 2-1 over LGD to move towards the top of Group Nirvana.
And Game 2 was a great showing from LGD. It shows that they have the tools, the players, the skill to win games against the top of Group Nirvana. But for LNG here, that game was a mistake. Game 1 and Game 3 looked easy for them. They had a game plan, they executed. LGD did find bite back in this game more than Game 1. But Croco, with missing and 1xN in the back, looked unstoppable in this series.
1xN, just a masterpiece of a performance. I know you wanted him for MVP, or maybe at some point, but this time, I think he's going to deserve it. It's been Croco for all 3 wins so far for LNG this season. I think finally it might go over to someone else. Not to discredit what Croco was able to do on the Wukong, really setting up some of those plays that allowed for 1xN to get into a good position, but locking in that lethality or the on-hit Varus, like he's played a couple times so far this season, and it ends up paying off in a big way, as LNG will move to 2-0 here in the group and look really poised to try to take over. And hey, by the way, if you like the way that these two teams played, well, guess what? It's good news, because they're going to play again in about 12 days, so no time to waste. You're going to be right back into it soon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. 1xN, the soul fight was all him. Croco goes in, yes, finds the engage, but he's dead. not only does 1xn completely carry from the backline, but it was a 2v3 or 2v2 with Heng and 1xn starting up the dragon. Heng walks in and instantly kills him. Secures the soul. It's risky, right? If it was poke Varus, maybe you could just flip it with the blight stacks, but with on-hit Varus against the Mundo, you need to take down that smite. So Tangyuan was there too on the Akali, pushes him out as well. A great series from 1xn, but that game was completely him. Croco missing, linked up very nicely. BuLLDog, maybe need to revisit that matchup. Again, it does win later, but that lane looked really tough.
Yeah, definitely still growing pains for some of these players. BuLLDog not having some of those shining moments on an Akali pick that we were pretty excited to see once it did get locked in that Game 3 draft. As for LGD, what a way to bounce back after what was a pretty disastrous first game. The fact that they created situations for themselves where they could have won this series goes to show the resilience that this team has had. Of course, 3 to 5 players sticking together after 2025 and now bringing in Heng and Tangyuan. Don't think either of them had particularly great performances today, but still a lot to look forward to for your former Demacia Cup semifinalists.
And for these teams, LGD have to go up against OMG on Friday, I believe. OMG play against Ultra Prime tomorrow night, I'm fairly sure. Yep. So LGD, after that showing, poised to cement themselves as a second seed. I see them contesting LNG. This rematch is going to be incredibly fun. So if LGD can continue to look strong, find their groove again. These teams have not played enough games on stage. 1 game each. This is their second series their second series, and they're playing against each other. Worded that a bit strange. Playing against each other. So, yes, they've been scrimming. Yes, they played in Demacia Cup, but this is really their second series on stage, which is important, right? I mean, take any team. I mean, I know that teams like Cloud9 were talking last year about, or Liquid, talking about last year that they did really well in scrims, bad on stage. This kind of stuff happens. So getting stage experience is super important. I'm very excited to see these guys play up again I think it's not next week, the week after. I'd have to check the schedule, but 55K.
Yeah. I know damage is not always what we use as a defining factor, but I think we know who our player of the game is going to be. It did not come easily. As you can see, the gold graph did tick up and down, maybe even slightly in terms of LGD's favor at around that 30-minute mark, but was not enough for them to close out the series. As 1xn on the Varus just doing a lot of the heavy lifting here in this one, and that's going to be probably the story here for LNG. Obviously, BuLLDog and Croco are a fun story to watch. Sheer has been solid so far, but when you look at who's going to really take this team to the next level, to me it feels like it's 1xn.
I mean, there are so many great AD carries in the LPL, so having someone step up that hasn't before reached that height and get there with players who have played against the best and have reached incredible heights like Missing. If 1xn can continue to have performances like this, and potentially, I see this team getting to at least the play-ins against Perseverance teams. If this team can get to playoffs and then Group Ascend, I'd love to see how 1xn does in this team against some of the best AD carries in the league. Elk, Hope, Gala, right? This was pretty unfortunate. I will say, probably needed QSS earlier because there were 2 fights back-to-back. That the only 2 fights that LGD really won this this game, were because the hostile takeover did hit 1xn. But this is the first time he had the QSS, took over the game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the ability to just kite away from players like Sasa on the Zehen, who's supposed to be able to dive decently well, have a lot of mobility in that department, just did not matter because of the amount of damage that 1xn had. And you got to give credit to Croco as well. Finding this play on the Shaoye was absolutely huge. It gave them the Elder and eventually the Baron, and he found this big play to end it as well.
Yeah, nice try from LGD. At least in this final fight, they do send it. But I'm hoping it's 1xn. I gotta get one right. I mean, the Croco one was a bit for sure, but I thought Shaoye was gonna get it. You were correct. We gotta come on, some hype for the AD carry role. I'm also an ADC main. Need some ADC hype this series.
Still waiting for that player of the game. Looks like we're gonna get it right now as we wrap up our first